Yo, everybody, welcome back to the motherfucking Minority Sports Report RASSLIN edition. Woo! Woo! There we go. Had to get Britt Baker in there.
Break that camera with the belt.
It's just a computer that costs way too much money. It's fine. I'm your boy, Big Black.
And I'm your boy, Scam Dollar.
He's your boy, Scam Dollar. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you can get notified. Unless you want to get your face socked in.
Week of crazy-ass wrestling.
See, we
had a lot of shit.
We be fucking up. All right, let's get her going, dude.
Well, bouncing around some shit we don't normally talk about. GCW. Game Changer Wrestling. It's known for their deathmatch wrestling, but they also have regular shit. They had their homecoming special this weekend. It was a 2-night event. They had a bunch of people returning from other companies, like Marco Stunt from AEW. He took on this dude named Starboy Charlie, who's like barely bigger than Marco Stunt. So it was good to see Marco Stunt wrestle somebody close to his size. Fucking Too Cold Scorpio was wrestling. A dude who wrestled back in the 80s and early 90s and shit in WWF. He took on a dude called Grim Reaper. And in the middle of the match, they smoked a joint together. Like there was a joint involved in the match. It was funny.
Grim Reaper.
I don't remember if it was a co-main event or not, but it was a title versus title match. It was the BJW Deathmatch Heavyweight Champion Drew Parker, that's a belt from Japan. He was taking on the GCW Ultra Violent Champion Alex Colon in the title versus title match. These two beat the fuck out of each other, and the Drew Parker ended up winning the match. So he is now both the BWA Deathmatch Champion and the Ultra Violent Champion for GCW.
Damn, son.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And then in the main event, Impact Wrestling star Matt Cardona defeated Nick Gage, who just made his debut in Dynamite, which we'll go over. But yeah, he lost his GCW World Championship in this match in a bloody war with, I guess, his rival, Matt Cardona. There was a display case like one of these behind me filled with action figures involved in the match, which is pretty crazy. Pizza cutters and everything. It was nuts. Night 2, they had the Dirty Daddy himself, Chris Dickinson. That's the dude your brother knows, and he does a lot of the local shit around here. He took on AEW star Cesar Bononi. That was a crazy match. Dickinson won and ended up dedicating it to his grandmother after.
Shout out to Chris.
Yep. Joey Janela was in action for GCW again, returning back to them. I guess he got to start out there too. I think it went from CZW to GCW, but he started off with them. He took on Atticus Cogar and got the win. Our girl Penelope Ford was there. She defeated a girl named Allie Catch. So that was a crazy ass little event for them.
Nice. Yeah, your commentary while you were watching that shit was intense.
Yeah, some crazy shit went on. Oh, the Penelope Ford match. The girl Allie Catch had Penelope Ford in a Boston Crab and like leaned all the way back so that her head was touching the mat over Penelope Ford. Penelope Ford like came out from underneath and got on top of her, if you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No,
it was. I never seen something like that before. How like the flexibility on her to be able to do that was insane.
Oh boy.
But jumping into Impact.
Impact.
I'm not going to cover everything that happened in Impact, just kind of the standout shit. Chris Bay defeated Rohit Raju, and the reason this stands out is because afterward, when he was backstage, they cut to the camera, and Jay White officially invited him to join the Bullet Club. He didn't agree right away. Jay White told him there's a time limit on that invitation, so like better think about it. And that's how they kind of left things there. I don't remember Mickie James made her appearance a couple weeks ago or last week or so. I think it was 2 weeks ago. She came back. She finally got Deonna Purrazzo to agree to that NWA Empower, all-female Empower pay-per-view event.
Nice.
With a little help from Gail Kim, but Deonna Purrazzo is going to appear at that NWA event. Later on in the night, Jay White came out to the ring, was talking shit about Kenny Omega and the Elite, which is basically an Impact. It's the Good Brothers and Don Callis. They all came out, started talking shit back and forth. Jay White started brawling with the Good Brothers, and that's when Chris Bay came out to help Jay White. So yeah, that kind of gave you the answer on whether or not he's down with Bullet Club or not. But that was that. And then another standout match was the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, which is the new champions, Decay. They won it at Slammiversary, if you remember. They defeated former champions Fire and Flavor.
Again?
Big Tosh. Yeah, again.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I believe Tasha Steelz accidentally super kicked Kiera Hogan. And that's how Decay was able to get the win in this one.
Okay. All right.
So that was the highlights from Impact. Jumping into New Japan.
New Japan,
they had their Wrestle Grand Slam from the Tokyo Dome. I had a feeling this was supposed to be a sold-out Tokyo Dome, which turned out to be a scattering of fans along the floor of the Tokyo Dome. Yeah, it was literally like, imagine how you would like those events back at the armories and like the gyms back in the day.
Oh yeah.
All right, imagine a little bit bigger than that. Yeah. Set up in the middle of the fucking Tokyo Dome. That's what this thing looked like. But they still held their event. This is a major event for them. They had a lot of their belts and shit on the line. But they opened it up with what was called the New Japan Rambo, with the fan-voted stipulation of handcuffs. And this match was for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy. So basically it was 22 wrestlers. It's basically Royal Rumble style.
Okay.
22 wrestlers. A new wrestler comes out every minute. You lose by pin, submission, getting thrown over the top rope, or the stipulation, you get handcuffed. They were handcuffs all scattered around, like attached to the ropes and shit like that.
Okay.
And the guardrails outside. So if you handcuff somebody, they were out of the match. Out of the 22 wrestlers, the last two were Chase Owens and the current holder of the King of Pro Wrestling trophy, Toru Yano. But Chase Owens was able to get the win. And he also started the match. He was the first man in.
Wow.
And he ended up lasting the distance. I think it was like a little over a half hour.
Damn. That's crazy.
But yeah, he is the new King of Pro Wrestling trophy holder.
Congratulations.
Then we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship on the line. My boy El Phantasmo and his tag team partner Tajiri Ishimori defeated Rocky Romero and Ryusuke Taguchi. Yeah, remember how I told you before that everybody thinks Phantasmo's boot is loaded?
Yeah.
Taguchi from the other team took his boot off at one point during the match, looked inside and was like, but like shenanigans went down. He wasn't able to show it to the ref, and he kind of got fucked up for it. And El Phantasmo and Ishimori got the win, defended their belt in their first defense. We had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on the line. Robbie Eagles defeated now former champion El Desperado to become the new Junior Heavyweight champ. The IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship was on the line, and Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi defeated the champions Sanada and Tetsuya Naito to become the new tag team champions.
Look at you speaking Japanese like a fucking pro.
Hey, I've been watching enough. I've been hearing it. I'm like a parrot. I just mimic it. In the main event, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship was on the line. We had Shingo Takagi defending the belt against a replacement. He was supposed to wrestle Kota Ibushi, but he got replaced because he's having reaction to COVID vaccine, and he couldn't go.
Oh, shit.
So he got replaced by Hiroshi Tanahashi. And Takagi got the win, defended his belt, and is still the world heavyweight champion. So that's the Japanese side. On the US side, they're still doing their Tag Team Turbulence Tag Team Turbulence tournament. This was the semifinals week. We had 2 matches for the semifinals. It was Violence Unlimited, which is Brody King and the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson, getting a lot of wrestling action this week. They took on the team of Jorel Nelson and Royce Isaacs, and they got the win over them. So Violence Unlimited is moving on to the finals. And then on the other side of the bracket, the Good Brothers defeated Yuji Nagata and Ren Narita to move on to the finals. So it's going to be Violence Unlimited versus the Good Brothers. And then in the main event of Strong, we had the Strong Openweight Championship on the line. Tom Lawler choked out Satoshi Kojima to get the ref stoppage and the win.
Nice. Young Robbie Lawler. I'm just kidding.
Tom Lawler. That's filthy Tom Lawler to you, sir. Him and his cutoff jean shorts.
My bad, yo. My bad.
So we'll jump into
you already know I'm rubbing my crotch. I mean, my belt. I'm rubbing my belt. My bad.
Fighter Fest.
Night dose.
We had night 2 of the Fighter Fest. I only got 3 matches out here that I'm going to talk about. So if you want to throw in anything, go right ahead. But the show started with the Labors of Jericho. The first match in the Labors of Jericho, which is Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears, where Shawn Spears was the only person allowed to use a chair. Jericho could not, but he was still able to pick up the win. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, not really. It was a solid match. I think it was more. Once that aired, I was like, okay, this isn't really the 5 Labors of Jericho. This is more like giving the inner circle guys, the Pinnacle guys, some shine. Because Shawn Spears, like, he doesn't really get a lot of play, but he's a solid wrestler. So like I think that worked for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing crazy. It was a good match. But yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, good match. After that, a pissed off MJF, obviously because Shawn Spears lost, so he was mad.
Yeah.
MJF announced that he was going to be facing Nick fucking Gage as his next opponent for this, tonight's episode of Dynamite.
Yes.
Fight for the Fallen. Later on that night, Jericho revealed that he's bringing back his New Japan persona, the Painmaker, which was kind of. I don't know if he did. I don't remember if he did death matches out there or not, but they kind of let things go a little more in New Japan.
Yeah, I was pumped when I saw that shit. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It was also, which was hilarious. I didn't bring it up then. I kept it in the banks for now. Like, when Nick Gage first came out, I was just like, oh, you can tell, like, this dude is, like, legitimately crazy. Like,
oh, yeah.
He's a tough motherfucker, right?
Hell yeah.
As, like, and some guys act tough. Chris Jericho acts tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Painmaker shit versus Nick Gage, when they had the 2 photos side by side, I was like, oh, man. This dude's playing crazy. This dude's on medication. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that shit.
One of them have been to prison multiple times.
And boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, especially now after GCW, he lost his belt. Like, does this mean is he getting signed for AEW? Is that why he dropped the belt?
I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, I'm happy for Nick Gage because he has a crazy ass story. If you watch that Dark Side of the Ring,
which I made it 1 minute in before I had to shut it off.
Yeah, it's violent and gory as fuck, and they hit you. They kind of just flash the most horrific images they could from deathmatch wrestling to kind of get you up to speed with what it is, and it's intense.
Yeah, I was ready, but I was not ready, and it's not. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, some people are cringing and like, oh, it starts with like fucking fluorescent tube lighting and fucking barbed wire, and I can handle all that shit. And then some motherfuckers jump off the fucking 2-story building into a fucking pickup truck with also fluorescent lights and barbed wire and all that shit. I can handle that shit. And then they cut to him fighting David Arquette and the fucking with more fluorescent tubes, and you just see him accidentally slice this dude's neck open. And I'm like, oh shit, they showed that? And then it's just the next like 15 seconds, it just ramps up. I'm just like, oh, all right, I'm watching the Olympics.
It's rough. It's
Yeah,
rough.
it's crazy. But I'll finish it.
That's why it's going to be very interesting to see Nick Gage on cable TV.
So
he's a very intense man.
I was thinking, so Rampage, at least the way they're billing it right now, is supposed to be a more action oriented, hardcore, not necessarily hardcore, but like Rampage. It's in the name. It's like, okay, not necessarily storylines, but we're gonna finish the shit here. We're gonna have some crazy shit here. So I could see potentially him being more of a player on Rampage, because at least the way that I'm receiving, the way they're putting it out there, Rampage is going to be more of their hardcore type shit. And again, I don't mean hardcore all the time, but more of their heavy hitters and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, they got history with Nick Cage because there's tons of current AEW wrestlers who came from GCW where Nick Cage got his start.
Yeah.
So like there's storylines all over there with Moxley, Eddie Kingston, fucking Orange Cassidy, like tons of people from there.
Yeah, man. Shit's gonna be tight.
Yeah, gonna be interesting.
Sweet.
One of the other matches I was going to talk about was the AEW Women's Championship. We had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, taking on and defending her belt successfully against Nyla Rose.
The Native Beast.
Yeah, good match. Britt broke her wrist in this match, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was a wrist.
Yeah.
But from what I heard, she's not going to be missing any time.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Good match, but I can't think of anything crazy that happened.
No, not crazy. I did want to highlight, what was it? Wheeler Yuta and Darby Allin real quick. I know it was a squash match for Darby. But I've never seen Wheeler Yuta wrestle.
I wouldn't call that a squash match.
I mean, it was a showcase. Excuse me.
Because
obviously Darby got
a little shine.
Yeah. But that was the point. Like, I was glad to see them. The kid's got like crazy potential. He's got skills. He's really fast and really acrobatic and technical. He looks like a high flyer technical wrestler, which is something that looks really interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him wrestle some more.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times in New Japan, and he's a solid wrestler. Glad he's made it to the big show. Well, not the big show. I mean, New Japan is huge, but to get
American TV,
major American audiences.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And apparently he's like an indie darling too. Like the indie wrestlers love him. He's a big up and comer for them. So,
word.
Good to see that.
Fuegos.
And then the only other one I was going to talk about was the main event, the Texas Death Match for the IWGP United States Championship. That's a New Japan title for y'all who don't know, being defended on AEW TV. Former champion Lance Archer was looking to get his revenge over Jon Moxley, who was the current champion, and he fucking did. He was able to choke slam the shit out of Jon Moxley through a board of barbed wire, and was able to get the 10 count and got the win. Yeah, very violent match. We had pizza cutter,
forks, barbed wires, tables.
The works.
Yeah, it was great, and they're both pretty giant guys too, so they were hitting. Oh, that was what I was gonna say. Wheeler and Darby, when they were hitting the mat, they sound like 7-foot dudes, like that were like 300 pounds. Like that's what I was like. I was like, man, these are some small motherfuckers, like booming the shit out. It was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that match, the IWGP, that shit was tight. When it came on, I was like, man, it'd be nice if Lance wins it, so Jon Moxley can go spend some time with his baby, and that's what happened.
And that's exactly what happened. And it set up a hell of a match too, because New Japan star Hikuleo, also a member of the Bullet Club, the real Bullet Club, and they do this shit too. That's another one of their things. But he got in the ring because he was sitting at ringside. I don't know if he was there the whole time. He just kind of showed up in the ring at the end of this. But he confronted Archer. He didn't attack him or anything. They just stood toe to toe. Hikuleo got some height over Lance Archer, which is crazy because Lance Archer is a big motherfucker. I've seen Hikuleo in New Japan, and he's a beast. His father's a WCW legend, so like He knows his thing. His brothers are doing their thing in New Japan too.
It's gonna be a good
yeah,
one.
it's gonna be a good one
tonight. Fight for the Fallen. Make sure you watch it. And
I think that match is gonna be a New Japan match, though. I think. I don't think
It's
they're
gonna
gonna
be-
put that on AEW TV. Hikuleo and Archer.
oh, really? I thought they said it
I'm
was
not
gonna
sure.
happen next week.
I'm not.
Well,
Is it?
well, last week. I'm about to pull it up. Hold up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I assumed it was gonna be a New Japan match.
Yep, next week on Dynamite.
Oh shit! All right, cool. So it is gonna be on AEW TV.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, they started to bring the Bullet Club over to this side, so
Yeah, that shit's tight. I love the fucking cross promotion.
mm-hmm.
I love it. I fucking love it.
a lot of shit going on.
A lot of
Good
shit
time to
going
be
on.
back into wrestling.
Great time to be back.
We
in
picked the
wrestling.
perfect time to start this shit.
Yeah, we did for real. Like, I don't know. It just, honestly, what started it was we moved from the old house. We got rid of DirecTV and we had Comcast. And I was like, I don't know the channels. I don't know what the fuck is on TV. And I started watching New Japan every once in a while. And I guess the season ended. And I was like, fuck. And then I started watching WoW, the Woman of Wrestling, because that shit was on for a little while on TV. And then right after that ended, AEW came on TNT. Well, I was like, what the fuck is AEW? And then, like, I missed a few weeks of it, but then you jumped on that shit. And then, like, we just haven't missed it since. Like, it's been fucking great. So, yeah, I attribute to moving, relocating, got me back into wrestling, which is fucking crazy, bro. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and we basically started talking about it because it was fresh wrestling. We're like, all right, we got to talk about this shit.
Yeah. Yep. Now we got our own show because it ate up too much time in motherfucking TMSR.
As you can see, it became too much.
And we got more shit coming. But you'll be posting.
I watched 7 hours of wrestling today.
7 hours. This man is fucking dedicated. We appreciate you.
I mean, it was background. I wasn't fully focused 100% of the time, but there was 7 hours of wrestling that occurred on my TVs today.
I mean, that's kind of how I've been with the Olympics. Fucking, I just been watching that shit nonstop. I haven't even played Xbox. Just been watching the Olympics, which is crazy because I love video games, but I love the Olympics more. Whew. But anywho, thank you for watching the show. Again, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the bell icon. You can follow all of us collectively at TMS Report. Skate, where can they follow you, bro?
Follow me at Game666.
Follow him at Scape666 and follow me. I'm at the Beatnik, and this is the motherfucking Minority Sports Report. Wrestling Edition! Woo! We'll be back next week. Peace out.